Alright, so we are back and I have done a little more work on this condemned church diorama. I was able to, from the last video, I think the last video, the last video was just, was still all pink. So since that last video, I was able to blackwash it, and I was able to blackwash and paint the back walls, stain the door, stain the molding, paint the details on the door and the molding, the cross on the door, and just the gold circles in the molding all the way across or all the way around. I just brought some of the props out just because, again, I like bringing them out and just kind of putting them up as I go through the process. And this isn't permanently on there yet. I will be, as will this one. So I definitely, one of my favorite features is these two little candle holders as decorations on the wall. Give it a good feel. I did some research on Catholic churches and decided to go with the antique white, as most of the churches that I saw, the pictures on Google of the inside of Catholic churches were antique white, and a lot of the churches had like a pastel type of orange. So I went with that as well, and I'm definitely glad with both these colors. The floor is going to be a darker brown, or something close to this. Again, this is the stain, so it's not going to look the same, but it's going to have that feel. And then because of the design on the floor, this box within the tile will be the same color as the tile that does not have the box, and then the border will probably be like a light beige. So the floor is going to come out really good and complement that wall. When dealing with the color gold, or something as shiny as that, it's tricky because it definitely sticks out. So somehow you have to try to blend that gold in with the rest of the diorama. And I think the darker floor colors, because for the most part, again, it'll be that darker brown, it's gonna make the gold disappear even more into the background, which is the goal. And then once everything is said and done, and I give it the airbrush, I'll make sure that I get a little extra mist on the gold, because again, it's condemned, it's old, it's abandoned. The gold shouldn't be shiny, but it should be there if you look close enough. So that's what I'm aiming for. Once I do that, confessional booth is going to be actually in this corner. It's going to be removable, and what I have is this base is where these came from. And this is part of, again, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. One of the action figures came with this, and this particular action figure came with this and the book and kind of that. And so I'm going to continue to use this and build the confessional booth around it, just because it's already a decent base. So I can just stick whatever I need to stick to it. I'm using the project foam board and balsa wood. So it's going to be my base, and then move it or whatever. The pews are going to be here, and I want to try to get 2 of them out, and probably right from here to maybe the beginning of the door. At first I was envisioning them being longer, but because of the space we need for confessional over here, they're going to start like over here somewhere. So I'm cool with that. I'm expecting some more of these. I think these maybe, which would be great, because these are really really cool candle holders. So somebody on Slings actually, and I shouldn't have said his name, because if he doesn't come through, then I don't know what it says about him. But no, I'm pretty sure he's gonna throw them in the mail for me, and I think it may be these or a cross or something. It's gonna be something that I know I can use for this, which is gonna be great. So thank you, Slings, in advance. I appreciate it. As I'm going through the process of this dial, as I do in most styles, I kind of do one of these where I just kind of lean back on the chair and pretty much visualize it and make sure that everything's looking good and coming along. I think the dial structure group, which I know I mention often, because it is an amazing source of motivation. I mean, I love doing these regardless, but to see the art that's being put in by Chris, who just today put up a electric pole, which looked crazy dope. Michael had done something earlier, like a base with a beam sticking out of one of the cement chunks. Dope. You're seeing these dials being built, and the work that's being put in is amazing, and it makes me work even harder to make sure that I'm keeping up with the level of professionalism, man, because people are just doing a really good job. I mean, so many to name. It really is inspiring to see everyone creating, and I think it does what it does for me. I think it does for all of you guys as well, which is just motivate us to continue doing these. And I'm having a blast. It's fun. It's a good time, so I can't wait to finish these two, or this one, because I have two other ones back to back that I need to start working on. Commission dials, and I already have the foam board that I got the other day, so I'm ready to go with the materials. I just have to start putting the time in. So I would say I am at about 60% done with this one, because again, I need to still do the wooden supports behind the sheetrock, the floor, airbrush everything, the pews, the confessional booth. So there's still a ways to go, and I'm looking forward to finishing this. But one step at a time, little by little. And so far, I'm real happy with it. I like how it's coming out. I really like how that door, how that gold cross, the paint did really well, because you don't know how paint's gonna react to the stuff, the stain. So it worked pretty well. All right. Peace out, y'all. All right, so here is the almost finished paint job. I'm about to airbrush it, or throw on a black mist across the back wall, side wall, and the floor. So what I did is, man, it was a real challenge to try to figure out how I was gonna paint this floor. Most Catholic churches have these elaborate marble type floors, so I wanted to try to get the same feel, but the design of marble, just a natural design, is difficult to emulate. So what I did is, within the strokes themselves, and in the fact that it was black washed, you can see some of the effects that I wanted to show up, and then also the mist of the black airbrush is definitely going to give it another feel. Obviously, as a condemned church, you don't want it to be super shiny. So again, the airbrush will definitely take the shine off of this. Decided to install these permanently, the little candle lights, and because I feel that the mist of the black airbrush should also go on here, and so that this will have that new type feel. So the way I approached it, in terms of, because I don't remember what the last update was, but I don't think I was nearly as far as I am right now. Within one of the challenges that I had is, this is gold. Obviously, it can't be a solid gold piece, because that would be ridiculous. So I left this black on the inside, and I don't know if that's the correct way of doing it, but it's the way I did it. So let's see how it looks at the end. And even if let's say behind this thin layer of gold, it could have just been at it's sheetrock, or it could be a piece of plywood, or whatever it is. It just kind of rotted out and just kind of turned that color. So that's the feel I'm going to go with it. Someone had mentioned a stained glass window, which I have thought I may end up doing after all. You know, and if I do it, it'll probably be on this side. I actually do have another wall here that I haven't even painted. It's still pink. I haven't weathered or anything. And I think I'm just gonna add that, you know, that third wall. But I'm definitely happy with the progress so far. I love the way the door came out. I'm definitely real happy with that. Threw the doorknob on last night. All right, so I am gonna, and then I threw these on, glued them on permanently, the molding. So that's glued on. The doors glued on permanently, as are the candle lights, and you know, still collapsible. But within that, you know, we'll just keep that there permanently, and it's protected by the side of the, you know, by that. So they shouldn't pop off if I store it and something knocks it off. I am afraid that these will get knocked off at some point. I just have to be extra careful. All right, so that is the update, and I'll have another update real soon. And I'm about, I want to say 70% done. I finished the pews last night. They're not in the video as they are at another section of this building, but I will grab those, and those will be part of the next update. Peace. So here is the completed painted version, as well as the pews. So again, I went with the airbrushing. I'm fairly new at airbrushing. I mean, I've had an airbrush forever. I just never really, you know, I can spray it, but for example, this line here, I can't believe I got a line that precise, to be honest with you. I just need to practice a little more, and I'm pretty sure that I can come up with some really good effects with more practice. So what I was trying to do is just make sure that the gold wasn't as shiny, and I was able to accomplish that. I was able to do the airbrushing on the floor as well as the walls, emphasizing the cracks a little more, in terms of not just the cracks but kind of the holes in the wall, but in terms of getting that effect that, you know, it's more dirt and grime accumulated around those areas. This is not as smooth. I'm definitely happy with how the pews came out. The stain though does not work really well on balsa wood. As you can see, some of the white kind of streaks or whatever, that's because I'm assuming the way balsa wood is made is a compressed type of wood, so it doesn't stain or it doesn't sink in like it does into the door. Although some of the spots on the door, like here, if there's glue or anything like that, the stain will not take. So the stain didn't do really well on the pews, but it did good enough, and I'm definitely happy with that. So yeah, so this is the completed, for the most part, painted version. I may do some brown on the walls to give it the look of some more, you know, grime and what have you. But for the most part, the majority of the painting is done, and I'm real happy about that. Word. All right, I'll be back. So this is as far as I'm gonna go with this diorama for now. So I think I'm gonna call this phase 1. Phase 2 is going to include another one of these on this side. So there's no wall here now. I mean, I cut out the wall. It's cut out to fit this diorama, and I did it from the get-go. And at some point, I kind of ditched that wall for whatever reason. But I had it in the back of my mind to create that third wall and possibly do a couple of stained glass windows, 1 maybe 2. And I think I have to do it. I mean, it's a church, so it's a must. So I will work on that third wall, and we can call that phase 2. And I also want to put a red rug, a beat up red rug, kind of coming from that back door, or maybe here somewhere. And I also want to do the confessional booth, which will probably be in this area. So, and then the last thing that I kind of kept saying I was gonna do, and I ended up not doing this time around, at least, was just wanted to put them little support wooden supports that are usually behind old sheetrock, older buildings. So I think I will do that as well. So I think phase 2 will be that, just the additions, a little more detail, adding that third wall, getting that rug together, the confessional booth. So I think I'm gonna stop on this one for now, mainly because I started this project today. So this here will be, it's a commission, so it's already cut out. So I have to magnetize it and then start cutting it and getting that ready to ship out, or the whole process, and then ship it out as soon as I possibly can. So in the meantime, I'll stop, but I wanted to just take a couple of minutes and talk about some of the details so far on this diorama. So these pews, I created these pews from scratch. So this is balsa wood, and obviously I went on the internet and I Googled pews. I actually work, my part-time job is at it's like a banquet hall, but it's set in an old church, and so there's a balcony level that overlooks the main floor, and we do rock concerts and birthday parties and sweet 16s and weddings and so forth. So it's a multi-purpose space, and there's pews, and so that I've been working there for a long time. So I've been around pews forever. So I kind of had that visual already, but went online and I wanted to do a little more like designs here, and actually this didn't come out as, this line should have been a little bit higher and met up here and then come down here. But anyway, it's not something that's gonna pop up in a lot of pictures anyway, so I decided to not make it a big deal and put a lot of effort into it. I think the goal was to make it look like they're pews, and I think I achieved that goal. Wanted to have them look damaged, almost as if chunks of the ceiling had fallen and took off some chunks of the pews, or a fight, or what have you. But I definitely wanted to get the feel of just a beat up bench. So I think I definitely was able to achieve that. The one thing I did notice with the balsa wood is that the stain, again, just didn't pick up really well on it, but it worked out at the end, and I came back and I reinforced it with some high temp glue gun. So hopefully that will make it strong, although it's pretty strong right now. I actually, when I was halfway through this, I envisioned at some point in my head, Spider-Man or Daredevil sitting on one of the pews and just kind of feeling crushed by the pressures of being who they are in terms of their respective professions. The Daredevil figures that I have from the original Amazing Spider-Man or whatever, the classic Spider-Man classic, I think it was called, pre-Marvel Legends, but the same idea. I have that Daredevil. I had the Daredevil that came with, I forgot what Build-A-Figure, but it's a yellow costume, and then I have the face-off one that came with Kingpin, and I don't like any of them, to be honest with you. The yellow one's cool, and so Daredevil wasn't gonna work for the whole face in the hands type of deal. So this is the McFarlane Spider-Man, although not the original release. This was a secondary release that came with a darker, looks black to me, darker costume, but he has the full articulation of all of his fingers, so he worked perfectly. The only thing with him is, normally this kind of when you're sitting this way, usually your elbows are on your knees. There was no way to do that. I tried my very best and I couldn't do it. So what I did is for the picture, I leaned him a little bit to his right, my left, and his foot was off the ground because of it, just to try to give it the feel of his elbows being on his knees as this normal pose would be, but just couldn't be done because of the way the figure was built. And when I took the picture and actually posted it on the ACBA page, I kind of hit it a little bit like this. And again, just to kind of give it that, the shadow almost gave it the feel as if the elbow was leaning on the knee, but it wasn't. These came, I love these. I mean, this was kind of one of the main inspirations is, you know, this piece and this piece. And I think it became, you know, it looks really good on that wall. The door, I was real happy with the door. I hung the knob a little too high. I think I'm gonna lower it for the final phase, but definitely happy with how the door came out. Happy with the airbrushing. You know, it's funny because I know if I had airbrushing skills, man, I would be able to freak the shit out of this hole right here. I can just envision it being a little darker and just having different details that, again, I just don't have that skill set yet. But, you know, it'll come over time. And I'll look back at this and say, man, I could have, you know, so it's kind of cool to be able to record this and look back at it 6 months from now, because I do want to try to get a little better with the airbrush gun. I think it'll help for dioramas and so forth. I'm definitely happy with the way the molding came out. So the way, and there you can see the difference that the airbrush gun made. And so basically the way this is constructed, that's permanently on there, and it's protected by that gold, I don't even know what it's called, man, but that gold piece on the wall. So that's kind of cool because it keeps it, you know, from you know, I stored these away, but it's starting to get a little cramped. So sometimes a corner of another diorama might hit this and knock it out. But you know, it's glued, glue gun and the craft glue, and then they're protected by this. Yeah, so overall the floor, I'm definitely happy with how the floor came out. I think I was getting a little nervous at some point before the floor was done. It was the last thing I painted, and I think the reason I was getting nervous is because I wanted to make sure I was going to use the right colors. Again, most of these Catholic church floors are marble, and they're these beautiful floors, and I wanted something that was going to kind of blend in with the wall and not kind of give it that cohesive flow, as opposed to doing something really different here from the colors on the wall. At the end of the day, it was all going to be airbrushed, and it was going to have that mist. And again, there you can see the difference of the original paint with the airbrush. So although in the final picture you can't see it as much when you see it compared to each other, it is pretty significant, and it allowed it to give it that flow. See, like right here, there's a perfect example. That should be dark all the way in there, and because I just don't have that skill set yet, I'd have to, so for the next phase, I'll definitely make sure that I get the paint in there, because that shouldn't show up. It should be dark all the way in that corner. But anyway, man, this is it, man. This is I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now, and it's time to put it away, and I will continue shortly. Peace out, y'all.